Hello, everyone. My name is Snigdha Sarkar, and I'm Simulation Lead at KETIV Technologies. Today, we're going to be walking through the Ansys Thermal Desktop product installation in this video. Ansys Thermal Desktop is a popular tool in the space industry and other industries where thermal applications are important to be solved. It is a 3D simulation tool that can help you solve thermal fluid radiation problems quickly and enables you to evaluate early design changes. It was a product that was recently acquired by Ansys a couple of releases ago. And usually, compared to the other Ansys products, Thermal Desktop contains a few extra installation steps. So we thought this video would be a good resource for our existing Thermal Desktop customers and future customers. Now, there are a couple of different Ansys Thermal Desktop products that you can purchase through Ansys. Today, we are going to focus on the full suite of Thermal Desktop products. And alongside that, if you wanted to purchase AutoCAD, which is a prerequisite for the Thermal Desktop software, you could also purchase it from Ansys. Of course, if you already have the software on your machine installed already, then you don't need to purchase it separately. Just to remind everyone, KETIV is both an Ansys and an Autodesk channel partner. So if you had any questions about how to get AutoCAD license or how to install the AutoCAD product, do reach out to us. We should certainly be able to help you. So once you know which product you have, you can go ahead and get started with the installation process. There are a couple of prerequisites for the Thermal Desktop product. For example, you need to have the Intel Fortran compiler and the runtime libraries installed on your machine. You would also need the build tools for Visual Studio 2022. Like I mentioned, AutoCAD is another prerequisite for the Thermal Desktop product. And alongside that, you need Ansys SpaceClaim on your machine. And we already talked about the Microsoft or Visual Studio build tools. Now, you can see that depending on which Thermal Desktop version you're installing, you may need different prerequisite software version compatibility. So use this slide deck as a resource to check which version is compatible with your version of Thermal Desktop. The slide deck that I'm sharing in the video right now will also be available on the KETIV website. The link will be included below this video so that you can directly access these individual slides if needed. Now, before you get started with the Thermal Desktop installation process, make sure that whoever is installing the product has admin rights on the machine. You should also turn off user account control to the Windows control panel and restart the computer just to avoid any hindrances. Like I mentioned, you should have anywhere between AutoCAD 2021 to 2024 already installed on your machine. I already have it installed on my machine, so we're going to focus on everything else apart from the AutoCAD product. But like I said, if you need help with the AutoCAD installation, feel free to reach out to us. Also important is to download and install SpaceClaim, which we'll go through in this video. And another important portion is to make sure that you do have a Thermal Desktop license already added to your license management center on the server where you're hosting your licenses. If you don't know what a Thermal Desktop license looks like, you can browse to the .lic folder on your license management server, and you should see these license increments included in the license file: Thermal Desktop Base, Prep Post, Solver, and TD Direct. This is a snapshot from my own license file. You should see this in your license file as well before you proceed with the installation. Now, let's go ahead and start the downloading and the installation process. We'll firstly go ahead and download SpaceClaim. So anytime you want to download Ansys products, you can browse to download.ansys.com. You would probably need to sign in with your single Ansys sign-on. Typically, it brings you to the current releases page, but if you look at the list of products on the left, Thermal Desktop has a separate page of its own. The latest version of Thermal Desktop is 2025 R1, so you will see all the associated installation files in this particular section. You can see Thermal Desktop 2025 R1, an AutoCAD link as well for those who are downloading and installing AutoCAD for the first time. You'll see the SpaceClaim product. And if this is the first time you're installing an Ansys product on your machine, then you'll also need to download the license management server on your the license manager on your server. Alongside that, if you wanted to download the installation guide, that is also available separately in this section over here. So for this particular video, what we're going to do is we're just going to click on the link, and that will start the download process. Let's go ahead and download the Thermal Desktop and the SpaceClaim products. If you click on it, the download starts automatically. Now, I already have all the important products downloaded on my machine. I have a separate folder that I created where I could keep all the prerequisites in one location. You'll see the SpaceClaim 2024 R2 product. You'll also see the Thermal Desktop 2025 R1 product and a couple of other prerequisites that we'll go through one by one. Once your SpaceClaim product has downloaded, just right-click on it and extract it to this location. Once it's extracted, you can open the folder and go to the very bottom. You will see a setup.exe file over here. Right-click on it and run this as admin. Once you run this as admin, the installer will start. You can go ahead and install the Ansys products. And it's going to take you through a few steps where you basically agree to the licensing terms and conditions and make sure that the destination folder for installation is accurate. This is the most common installation directory path for SpaceClaim, typically remains the same. So you don't need to change anything, just keep clicking next, and your installation process should be complete. Again, for the interest of saving time, I already have the SpaceClaim product installed on my machine. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you are installing SpaceClaim for the first time and you only have a SpaceClaim license through Thermal Desktop, after the installation process completes and you try to launch SpaceClaim, you may see a license denial. That is completely okay. All you need to do is go to the drop-down menu and select Thermal Desktop as the alternate license from the list. And also check this box that sets Thermal Desktop as the alternative license preference. If you check this box, then you don't need to repeat this step every time you open SpaceClaim. Now it automatically knows how to check for SpaceClaim license when you launch your product. The other thing that you would want to do is make some changes to SpaceClaim file options. So let's go ahead and do that. This is SpaceClaim 2024 R1. Once the installation process is complete, just launch the product and come to SpaceClaim options. You can go to File Options, and under General, just make sure that this box, Load Model in Background, is unchecked, and then just hit OK. And once you complete this portion, your SpaceClaim installation and configuration is now complete. Okay. After you have downloaded and installed SpaceClaim, let's move to the Microsoft Build Tools for Visual Studio. Like I said, you will have access to this slide deck. You can just click on the link here, and it'll directly take you to the website from where you can download this. I already have it open on my computer. So when you click on that link, it brings you to this page. You can scroll down below. You can see Build Tools for Visual Studio 2022. Just hit download. I already have it downloaded in my installation folder. In order to launch the installation process, you would just double click on this exe executable file, and it will take you through the steps. Couple of things to keep in mind when you are installing the build tools for Visual Studio is that the default installation does not have this desktop development with C++ selected. You need to click on this, which will be indicated by this blue strip on the left. And then you also need to make sure that these options or checkboxes are marked before you hit install while downloading. You don't need to make any other changes or select any other options for selected. Just continue with the process as indicated, and your build tools for Visual Studio 2022 should be completed. Next, we move on to downloading the Intel Fortran Compiler Classic. Again, the link is mentioned over here. You can just follow it to access the web page from where you can download this Intel Fortran compiler. I have this open over here. Depending on which type of operating system you're using, I'm going to assume that it's Windows. You can just go ahead and click on Continue as a guest. When you do that, your download automatically starts. During the installation of the Intel Fortran compiler, you should use the recommended installation. If you see a warning, you can, ignore it. Visual Studio is not required if you've already installed the build tools, which we did in the previous step. You may also get a warning that says there is no IDE installed. That can also be ignored as you already have installed the build tools. So the order of installation is important. Make sure that you install the build tools for Visual Studio first, and then go ahead and install the Intel Fortran compiler. Alongside this installation, you also need to set some environment variables on your machine. So let's go ahead and do that. You can just go to your Start menu and edit the system environment variables. You can click on environment variables over here, and under system variables, if you don't already have the system variable for VS 2022, you can just go ahead and click on New and create one. Basically, this is the variable name, and this is the standard variable value, which is the path to your build tools inside program files. So this should typically remain the same on everybody's machine. Once you've created this new system variable, just hit OK, and now you should be good to go on the Intel Fortran compiler front. Now, next comes the installation of the Intel Fortran compiler runtime. These are all the libraries that you would need in order for your Fortran compilation. I also have this open over here. Again, there's a link in the slide that you can access to come to this page. You can go ahead and download the more recent versions, but I think what is recommended is the 2024.1 version. 2024.2.1 version. So you can just go ahead and click on it. It's going to download, and then you can just go through the installation process. Just follow the prompts and you should be good to go. All right, so once we have all the prerequisites downloaded and installed on our machine, we are finally ready to download the Thermal Desktop installation package. Again, it can be downloaded from the Download Center. So this is the product that I downloaded, Thermal Desktop 2025 R1.1. And once you extract the tool over here, you will see a couple of different products in this folder. You have your Sinda, you have Thermal Desktop, and you also have the AutoCAD installer. So if you don't have the AutoCAD product already installed on your machine, you can use these executables to download that product. But I'm assuming that you already have AutoCAD on your machine, so we'll just go ahead and download Sinda and Thermal Desktop. The help installer is just your Ansys help manual. So if you want it downloaded on your machine so that you can access it in the offline mode, you can do that. But otherwise, you don't necessarily need to download it. It's optional. So let's see how to go ahead and select the settings for Sinda and Thermal Desktop. In order to start the installation process, all you would do is double click on these executables. Now, before you install Sinda, you want to close any other Ansys applications you have running. You can also be asked to reboot your computer once the Sinda installer starts. If that happens, just go ahead and reboot your machine. That should be fine. Like I said, double click on the executable and then follow the prompts. Typically, you would be asked to review and agree to the license agreement like all other Ansys products. Just go ahead and do that. Always recommended location is the default location. So if you want to go ahead and change the location of the fluid property files, make sure that whichever location you're entering is accessible to all users. So typically I would recommend, not changing this because it can be a little tricky to make sure that all users have access to it. If you go ahead with the default location, then you don't need to do anything. Just keep hitting the next prompt until the installation is finished. Even for Thermal Desktop, you follow a similar process. Close any other applications, double click on the Thermal Desktop executable. Once you agree to the license agreement section, you can just proceed with the installation. Again, the default location for installation is recommended. If you are choosing a different folder, make sure that it is accessible by all users. When the installation is done, just click Finish. And like I said, if you wanted to install the Ansys help, it is optional. You can always access these instructions in the slide deck here. So now you've installed all the prerequisites. You've also installed the Thermal Desktop package. We're assuming that you also have AutoCAD installed on your machine. The last step is just to verify that your Thermal Desktop product is actually working. Keep in mind that you should have an active Thermal Desktop license file that is added to your server. I did share a slide previously that shows which increments are included in your Thermal Desktop license file. So make sure you see that on your License Management Center before you verify the installation. But the way to do that is just use a sample file and run it and see if it runs. And that way you can check whether the license is accessible. You can browse to this location over here. If this is the default location you chose during your installation process, I have it open on my machine already. So this is the location we are talking about. I'm accessing the 2025 R1 version, and this is the sample design that you can open and see if it runs. So we're gonna right-click on this and then open it with AutoCAD. Okay, so this is the sample drawing that you can check to see if it runs. Just go to case sets and then make sure that this is selected and then run one selected case. If you're able to get results, then that means your license is available and your product has been installed correctly without any issues. It looks like in this case, my product has been installed correctly because obviously I can see the results, and that completes the Thermal Desktop installation for your machine. Do let us know if you have any questions or if you need help with the AutoCAD installation or licensing portion. Again, just as a reminder, KETIV is both an Autodesk and an Ansys channel partner. We're uniquely equipped to help you on both fronts, whether it be installation or licensing. So with that, we can go ahead and conclude this video. Hope you guys find it useful. Thank you so much.